Hey, how you doing? This is Craig Beck, aka the Stop Drinking Expert from stopdrinkingexpert.com. Welcome into today's video. If you're new to the channel, come on, click that subscribe button, ring the bell so you get updates when I release another video, and like and comment below because it really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. So today I want to talk about that big question. How do you know if you're an alcoholic? How do you know when your drinking has gone from being sociable and normal and everyday to being abnormal, dangerous, and in a spiral downwards? And it's a question a lot of people worry about, especially when you've had a heavy night. You wake up in the morning and you think, wow, this is happening a bit too often. Do I have a problem? But then generally what happens is you get on with your day and you get distracted, and you don't like to think about these sort of things, so you forget about it. But then it starts happening more and more and more, and you start asking the question. And the reason I wanted to talk about it today is because of this article that the BBC released today. COVID pandemic, drinkers shunning beer for wine and spirits. And what struck me about this when I first saw it is it's almost like a casual throwaway statement, almost like this story is about people's taste and choice of flavor has been changed by the pandemic. We no longer fancy a beer, now we want an elegant glass of wine, and so on and so on. It should be screamingly obvious to even the most, moderate of drinker who might have written this article that this is not a good thing. This has got nothing to do with taste and flavor and anything like that. Moving from beer to wine to spirits is the path that most problem drinkers take. You think about it, when you first started drinking, when you first tasted alcohol, chances are it was pretty revolting to you. If you sneaked a sip of your dad's whiskey or something like that, or you had a drink of your granddad's bitter or whatever, it was probably pretty horrible. And you probably thought, I don't know how they like that so much. Give me a Mars bar any day, yeah? So when you start getting into alcohol and you feel that peer pressure and you want to fit in with a social group, you have to have alcohol with training wheels on. You have to have alcopops and ciders and sweet drinks that appeal to your immature palate. This is how the I was going to say drug industry, but it is really, isn't it? This is how the alcohol industry weans you in to a lifelong spiral downwards. You start with these sweet, sugary drinks. And then, beer is the thing for men. That's generally the stereotypical drink of men, isn't it? Come on, let's go get a beer, and wine for the ladies. That's the world that it's always been. Now, of course, it's changing with the times, but generally, that's how it is. And then what you find is you develop tolerance. And your drinking goes from being something you're doing just to be sociable to being something you're doing to escape reality, to escape your problems with. And when you first start doing that, then maybe, half a bottle of wine is all you need. Half a bottle of wine, you feel suitably, anesthetized, your brain slowed down, you're not worrying about your problems anymore, and job done. Well, fast forward 5 years, now it's one bottle of wine. Fast forward another 5 years, you're starting to open a second bottle of wine, but you're not finishing it because you feel a bit guilty. Or maybe you're doing what I used to do. I doubt it, because I doubt anyone's as stupid as me. But when I used to be drinking, 2 bottles of wine a night, I would never finish the second bottle of wine. Why? Well, not because I didn't want it. I always used to tip out about 1 glass into the sink. And I did that so that when I went upstairs to bed and my wife would say to me, "Did you drink 2 bottles of wine again?" I could lie with plausible deniability. I could lie to my wife with a straight face and say, no. I drank 1 bottle. I started on the second, but I didn't finish it. How ridiculous is that? Just lying to myself, basically, to justify my behavior. So then you're finding, you're onto a second bottle of wine, and this is when you start questioning whether you have a drinking problem, whether you're an alcoholic. And then if you let your drinking progress from that point, you're going to switch to spirits. not because you like the taste of spirits, but because you find that your previous choices no longer get the job done. Often when I meet problem drinkers and I ask them what they drink, what is their drink of preference? A lot of people say whiskey or vodka. Vodka is top of the list by a long way. And I always say to them, I bet I can guess why you drink vodka. And they go on. I say, because it gets the job done, doesn't it? And they go, yeah, that's it. But it's so easy to go from drinking, a quarter bottle of vodka to half a bottle. And it really doesn't take that much time and energy before you go from half a bottle of vodka to a full bottle. And you become that sort of drinker that you never thought you would become. When you heard the stories when you were younger about people drinking a whole bottle of vodka a day, you thought that was just nuts, didn't you? It really doesn't take long to get from, where you are to where you thought you'd never get to. So how do you know if you've got a problem? This story here is about people choosing not to go to the pub or not being able to go to the pub because of the pandemic and instead taking alcohol home. But they didn't take beer home. Well, they might have done initially. Beer sales went down. Spirits, fortified wine sales went up. This should be seen not as an article about flavor and taste. This should be seen as evidence that we are about to be hit with an epidemic of alcohol problems, an tsunami of liver failure coming as a result of what has happened in the pandemic. So how do you know that your drinking is now abnormal and you are in a dangerous place and you need to take action and do something about it? Well, there are many signs. And they're not the ones that you might think. There's a lot of stereotypical signs portrayed by movies and Hollywood about what an alcoholic is. You don't have to be sitting on a park bench swigging booze from a brown paper bag. You don't have to have lost your home and your family and your job. You don't have to, have serious withdrawals and be unable to stand upright unless you drink alcohol. Most of the people I speak to are highly functioning. They're holding down a job, they're holding down a family, they've got a mortgage and a house and a home. They're not getting arrested every 5 minutes. They haven't got any DUIs and so on and so on. But they're still drinking vast quantities. And slowly, the cycle is getting tighter and tighter and faster, and they're going down this route to devastation. Alcohol's stealing their health, their relationships, their finances, everything that matters. So you don't have to look like the stereotypical alcoholic to have a problem with alcohol. Ask yourself this question. Do you plan your days around your drinking? Do you turn down social occasions or opportunities to be with the family if you believe that you won't be able to drink? Do you try and manipulate people who are close to you into doing what you want because you know and have foreplanned how you will drink by doing that? For example, when I was drinking and looking after two young children, they would want to go somewhere, like a soft play center or something like that. This would ring an alarm bell in my head because I thought, they don't sell alcohol in the soft play center. What am I going to do? So I would then persuade or manipulate my children to go and do something somewhere else where alcohol was available. I'd say to them, your soft play center, I think it's closed. But the pub has an outdoor play area. Why don't we go to the pub and you guys can, go on the swings and stuff? Yay! Shameful, huh? Are you lying about how often or how much you drink? Has someone asked you recently? Maybe it's a doctor has asked you how much you drink and you lied. Well, why would you do that? If your drinking was at a healthy level or at a normal level, it's probably better to say. Has someone questioned you about your drinking? If someone has sat you down or had a quiet word with you and said, listen, I think, I'm a bit worried about the amount you're drinking, you better believe that's not the first time they thought to do that. They thought about speaking to you dozens of times before, and they've been putting it off, and they finally plucked up the courage, or you pushed it so far that they felt that they had no option to speak to you. And how did you respond? Did you defend your drinking, or did you agree? All these are indicators that alcohol has become something that is distorted in your life. You know, do you have strange beliefs connected to alcohol now? Do you believe that you can't get to sleep unless you have a drink? Do you believe that you can't socialize unless you have a drink? Do you believe that you can't cope with the stress and strain of life unless you have a drink, and so on and so on? Because all of these justifications are 100% horseshit. They're not real. They are an illusion, but you should see them as evidence that you are inside the bubble of unreality that is alcohol in the Western world. Every single person that comes to me with a line, with a story about why they drink, firmly believes it. They firmly believe that their drinking is justified because they have a stressful job, they have a bad relationship, the kids are playing up, they haven't got enough money, they got no confidence, they've got anxiety, they've got depression. You name it, everyone has found a way to justify it to themselves. And if you have a reason in your head right now, let me tell you straight, you're lying to yourself. You are lying to yourself to justify drinking poison, because there is no good reason to drink poison. And that's what it is. So what do? Well, you take action. Don't just push this away as an uncomfortable thought. Take action, do something. Read the good books. There's so many good books out there on getting sober. Loads of good sober bars and cafes and things like that are popping up, even sober off licenses where you can just buy lots of different alcohol-free stuff. Or if you want to take it a step further and take some serious action, then sign up for my webinar today at stopdrinkingexpert.com/webinar. And I'll give you a copy of my best-selling book, Alcohol Lied to Me, as a gift just for turning up. So thanks so much for watching. Interesting story today. What do you think? What do you see with your friends? Has the pandemic made them drink more or less? I'd love to hear your stories on that. Post them in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. And don't forget, if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Imagine waking up tomorrow. No hangover. No feelings of guilt or regret. Just full of energy and vitality. That goal is not only possible, it's easily achievable. Find out how 200,000 people just like you have rediscovered their happy, sober lives using the Stop Drinking Expert program. Reserve your place on today's free Quit Drinking webinar and get a copy of my best-selling book, Alcohol Lied to Me, as a free gift just for turning up.